My name is Farzin Nadimi, and I am a senior fellow at the Washington Institute, specializing in Iran's military and security developments. I was born and raised in Iran through very interesting yet volatile times in a middle-class family of the National Iranian Oil Company bureaucrats. Both my parents worked for the NIOC, and I remember those early years of my life. From the very beginning, I loved everything military. I watched with awe how Iran became a strong military power in partnership with the United States. But then in 1978, all the hell broke loose. Mass demonstrations and chaos, constant shootings on the streets, and tanks blocking the crossroads. The 1979 revolution was a real jolt to many Iranians, me included. I lived through those days as a kid, and a keen observer, of course. But as if it wasn't bad enough, it soon was followed by the Iraqi invasion of Iran in September 1980. It went on to become one of the longest and bloodiest state versus state conflicts of the 20th century. Because of the shortage of heating fuel, constant power outages, and fear of air raids, we had set up a warm, sealed room in our house with all its windows blacked out, where the entire family lived in for a while. Iraq frequently bombed and threw missiles at Iranian cities, and we were at the receiving end of those missiles. But human beings can adapt incredibly, and I grew up literally living through that war and sometimes even enjoying it, having the experience, having the adrenaline rushing through my veins. Those experiences of revolution and war had profound effects on me and my generation. I did my undergraduate degree in Russian and my compulsory military service in Iran. When I lived in Iran, I worked various jobs, such as a magazine editor. I was an editor of a monthly magazine called Aviation Industries. I worked as translator, and even I worked for a couple of years as the secretary of Iran British Chamber of Commerce. I have published quite a number of books and articles about the Iranian military, especially air, naval, and missile capabilities and intentions, and Iranian military history. Later, I moved to Britain to continue my studies. I did a master's degree in war studies at King's College London, and after that I did my PhD in Middle Eastern studies at the University of Manchester, studying the Iranian oil industry. I started to read the publications by the Washington Institute in 2000, and was in touch with TWI scholars ever since. I got my first policy watch published in 2006 and have been fortunate to be accepted by the Washington Institute as an Iran military expert and the go-to person ever since. At the Washington Institute, I focus on Iranian military affairs. Recently, I have been looking closely at how Iran uses like-minded militant groups in Lebanon, Iraq, Syria, and Yemen to gain regional power while taking fewer risks for Iran itself. But after years of low-pitched fighting, Iran recently struck Israel directly. Only time will tell whether this was an isolated experiment or just the beginning of a new norm. My highlight with the Institute was the publication of my policy focus report called Iran's Evolving Approach to Asymmetric Naval Warfare in 2020. During my time at the Washington Institute, I met a brilliant group of colleagues, scholars, policymakers, and military officers. I am very grateful that the Washington Institute has given me the opportunity to be among an elite group of Middle East experts.